click that Steve had us listen to. She said we make up these things about ourselves, we form this identity, and then we say we are this, and we're stuck. She was saying whether it's an illness or a certain way. It's like we make that up, and then we're so stuck to it. So I guess my question is, so then isn't it that easy if we can just flip that around and be no self and not be attached to that? I don't know. It seems like that would be.
That's definitely.
Is it that easy?
She's saying
it's kind of
we're
its own
so attached. We make these things up in our head. So I'm thinking, but I guess you have to have years of enlightenment.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we can just flip that around.
But I think that's that's a very enlightened thought, though. I mean, for some people,
already there.
For some people, it is like that. For some people, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just not there. I think for some of us, I mean, I know I was raised very much of this is who you are. You are from this family. You are Christian. You are talented. You are an artistic person. You are from this family. You are a Southerner. You are. I mean, it was all these constructs, and all the time I kept, well, I'm talented. What if I don't want to act anymore? What does that mean? Who am I then? Am I nothing? And it's slowly over. It's taken years of practice for me, and I'm still working on it. But I think for some people, I think that's I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think that's a very enlightened thought for somebody to stop. There are people who could stop and go, oh my gosh, let me just flip the switch, and that really is what you do.
Wouldn't that be what we're doing when we're on this path? That's to flip that switch to. But I guess that's why we have to keep coming and then
Keep flipping it.
Don't
just flip it once.
Otherwise we go.
You turned the right too.
Yeah.
Everybody like now it's working. Good.
No, because when we keep learning this, I guess that's what I'm thinking. But I guess when we're in the midst of it, when we're here talking about it, I can see we're.
And the enlightenment is already there. You don't have to go find it. You just got to get out of the way of it.
So my question is, how do we teach our children who are younger to not have that no self?
You wait till they go through
We are
puberty.
brought up with our own identities. Well, have to be this way. I was raised basically that way. So my little one, whenever she does any kind of naughty thing, I'm like, Nadia, if you do this, you're not whatever. I tell her, if she breaks anything from the table, I'm like, you're not a good girl. Excuse me. So I'm already making that identity that she has to be a good girl and not breaking anything. So how do you
just explain that she should be a more thoughtful girl, a more careful girl, turn it around positive.
And then the other thing about that, we create this stuff as an emotion, whether it's emotions. At times, illnesses is not something that we create. You have a heart attack, well, that's different. That's something that you've been not eating healthy. But if you have cancer, if you have Alzheimer's, sometimes it's not something that we create. It's just part of heredity, part of the family. Like, it's in that tree. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, and
We do create the.
yeah, I was gonna say, there's, in. Would you like to say it? Okay, in Buddhist philosophy, and they say we are the authors of our own disease. There are studies that have show, say if someone has cancer, there's studies that have shown people that have a good attitude, who meditate, who start to work on deconstructing their thoughts, who work to have a healthy mental and physical life cycle, they do a lot better than other people who are on medication alone. And I know in my reading, this isn't something I've experienced, but when you look into medicine like Tibetan Buddhist medicines, look at most of it's mental, most of it has to do with emotional and dealing with the emotions. And if you're experiencing too much of this one thought, it creates this reaction in your body that tends to propagate this kind of disease. I know personally, we have a couple people here. I deal with fibromyalgia, and I was completely not functional. I was on tons of medication. I could barely get up. And once I started meditation and started practicing Buddhism, I was able to then start to rewire my thinking and my body, and it started being more healthy and being able to process the emotions and the thoughts that were causing the nerves to go insane and cause pain. So there is there's definitely a mind-body connection. Anybody? I mean, I know Will probably has some great stuff to say on that.
So when they say about that the body is nothing, I know in Hinduism, when someone passes away, they burn the actual body. Because to Hinduism, body is nothing. And what matters is the soul, because the body is going to be eaten by worms and all kinds of creatures that live on earth. And what matters to them is the soul. I guess that's what you're trying to say, I guess, in that way. Or, I'm just still trying to understand.
Well, and does anybody else have anything? I mean, go ahead. Well, I think.
You guys are doing real good. I was going to mention something. I'm going to update my teacher's thing. My teacher told me one time, he asked the question, well, how many religions are there? Listen, 15 maybe? So the updated version is there's 9 billion religions in this world. And each of us have our own concept. What each of us thinks and what each one of us does creates our reality. And what we're dealing with more than anything else is semantics. And semantics is 2 different words that mean exactly the same thing. And one person says, well, this is what it is. The other person says, no, this is what it is. And it's the same word. It means the same thing. And this is what we're dealing with in our life. All of the time, every minute of the day, we're dealing with this. We're dealing with, how do I think about this time? How do I think about how I feel now? Am I sick? Oh my goodness, I'm sick. And we draw that to us. We draw that sickness to us. We draw the healthiness to us. We draw, when we walk into a room, we can come into the room, 2 people can come into the same room. And one person is having an absolute grand time, and the other person is having nothing but a bummer. And that's all in perspective. Now, our reverends up here, the monks are going to talk about Buddha and how Buddha says something the same. And that's like being in the military. When you're in the military, you wake up in the morning, you put on your shoes, you shine your shoes, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, and you go to sit down and eat, everybody eats together and blah, 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 blah. And it's all regimented. And that's great. That's easy to do. Except when you're out here, and when you're a householder, and being a householder, you don't have the somebody to stroke you and to take care of you and to pat you on the back all the time. You don't have your brother or sister standing there with you, helping you with the babies. You don't have them helping you with breakfast. You don't have them helping you with making the beds. You got to do it all yourself, and you got to make it up as you go, because every minute of the day, everything changes, and it's not the same as yesterday as it was today. It's something entirely different, but it's the same thing same people you're going through it with, but it's in an entirely different scenario. And what we have to do is we have to discover for ourselves, and it's different for each of us. I mean, I'm a vegetarian. My wife's a vegetarian. She goes a little bit more to this side of it than what I do, and I go a little bit different than what she does. But I'm still vegetarian. But there's somebody who's semi-vegetarian, I think. and we all consider ourselves the same situation. But some of us are more to the others don't have any eggs. So it's what we have talked ourselves into from day one. Every morning we get up and we say, oh, this is a beautiful day, and we say, oh no, and another one of these bummers. And the only reason I can say this is because I've been on both sides. So I woken up and I found out that this is a good day because I'm not blind today. For the last 2 weeks I've been blind. I'm not blind today. Thank goodness. Miracles, wow. Yeah, well, all kind of good stuff happens. And as we go through life, we get these little perks of energy and sparks. We get all these friends that help us, and they
Open a thunder.
And we have all these friends that take these little bags of pat them on the back and hoorah and everything. They drop it in your little platter. And during the day you absorb all of this. And the next day it gets a little better, it gets a little better, it gets a little better. Then when you come to a situation like this, and you have a sangha where everybody's focused and going in the same direction, and everybody helps one another, it's like a quantum leap that you take. Because now when you ask somebody a question, if they've had the experience, they can give you something on a first-hand basis that you would never know. You look in the book and you read the book and you'd never know what they were saying because your concepts weren't there yet. You have to wait until that concept comes. And when that concept gets there, and all of a sudden you can say to yourself, I feel good. This is really good. I really feel good. And actually feel that way. Actually have that feeling to go from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. And just by hearing yourself say that, and you can relate to it, you can feel that energy that flow through your body. And you create that yourself. And everything you do all from morning until the evening. If you come up and your attitude is good, positive, everything flows good through the day. If it's negative and everything like that, you get out there and you're grumping at one thing, you're grumping at the next thing, you're grumping at something else. Like the story goes about the guy who went into work and the boss chewed him out about something. He came home and he kicked the cat. And he jumped on his wife and his wife jumped on the kid and the kid kicked the cat. And it just kind of perpetuates itself. So that if you can get in that space, hold that space, and it's there, you touch on everything. You touch on that calm, still, compassion.
I did ask Buddha, what is self and what is non-self? And Buddha told me, he asked me, what do you think self or non-self is? And I told Buddha that self is whatever I think it is, whatever I think myself to be. And whatever non-self is whatever I think I'm not. And the Buddha told me, yeah, put it aside, don't worry about it. Go ahead, say
I love the don't worry about it. I was thinking about, we're hungry to hear the Dharma and we want more and more to study and have Dharma talks and understand and it occurs to me that